Skaczesz. Mm. Mm. Nie. A ten. Nic, mamo. There we go. Mhm. Tak. No bo ten mnie wkurza, po co? O, w końcu. Nic, mamo. Po prostu live się nie pokazał na YouTubie. Finally, it's appeared.
Are you live? Hello?
Yeah.
Yep. You live?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, round 1, season 5, Bahrain. Fairly interesting circuit. We've been told 63% probability of a safety car at a fairly high tire degradation circuit. So strategy is all in. But yeah, quali's just begun. Who will be the first to come out on track?
We'll find out then. So obviously, before everyone goes out and sets in their first laps, as it obviously is short quali, let's quickly talk about what the track has to offer for us. So 15 corners, low and medium speed performance mostly, which will most likely be prioritized for the car setup. As you said earlier, safety car probability is about 63%. Tire degradation will be heavy, and obviously, especially in tough corners like turns 10. Now, potential flash points on this circuit, you have. Why do we have only 13 drive? They'll join now. Potential flash points. Turn 1 and 2, this is obviously going to be an absolute chaos dome, you can call it, in the start of the race, and obviously loads of sends will obviously be sent on that, definitely into that corner. Obviously, there's obviously going to have to be also people may have to back out. Also, in turns 4, another good overtaking opportunity off the back of a DRS straight. Obviously, can the toe help you out there? Obviously, as well. And sending can also be pretty dangerous. I think an outside move is also practically ineffective. In turn 5, the next corner, still, it's if you're still fighting through turn 4 and you're still almost side by side, there will obviously probably be a bit of a collision going through that turns 5 to 7, as they are practically impossible to fight in unless you are like really skilled. Turn 10, it's one of the most known corners on this Bahrain circuit. A very heavy apex down the hill. Obviously, some people may brake later than others, which can cause a couple of crashes. But obviously, we'll see how it goes. And obviously, it also has turn 12 and 13. This can be flat out, however, it does kill tyres, so people will obviously have to watch turns 12 and 13 wisely. And turn 14, obviously, it's a late apex, however, it does have quite the curb, so quite the inside curb, so it will be a bit harder to take a better inside line.
Well, yeah,
but
we'll see. All that.
Yeah, but we'll see how that does. So we have the Haas, the only Haas on the grid at the moment, Vitavate_Kiddy.
Yeah, up into turn 1 now, DRS wide open. Slams on brakes, just settles the car through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Most likely where you will probably spin out in the early embers of your flying lap. If you can get through there, you'll be in the rhythm, which just allows you to complete your lap with ease. It's a really crucial part of the lap as well. At big start, as you previously said, but it's a 28.3 at the end of sector 1. Downhill he goes, heavy braking now into turn 8. one of the many hairpins of the circuit. There's about 9, not 9, 4, my bad. But yeah, into turn 10, the infamous corner for many reasons.
As he charges down, probably the last proper DRS straight and the last toe he'll get as he pounces into turns 11 and 12. What can Sector 2 offer on the table of Vita as he runs around turn 12 and dashes to turn 13? It's a 106.2 exactly. Fair play for getting it such timing. Obviously,
and it's purple. By having first lap.
I wonder how.
Yeah.
But around the final corner, Vita seems to be setting about a 127, and it's a 127.9.
It's a fairly decent banker lap, as the next man approaching the line, I believe, is the Sauber of Kimi Rai, who's matching similar pace in the middle sector, about a tenth quicker, but now is heading up to the line. DRS now comes into play, and he just breezes across the line about a tenth quicker than the Haas. We saw this dynamic yesterday in my stream, where it was Haas versus Sauber throughout qualifying, but then it opened up during the race. So could that be a replica here? Who knows, as Yeet Mima puts it into second. But Konami goes even quicker.
Konami splits the kick Saubers in half and is very close at the top at the moment, but the next person to cross the line will be the Williams of Darren, who goes actually into the pits, or not, he just nearly slams into a wall. He's 7 tenths down on
that's an esports line. It's an esports line if you were in the race. This isn't a race, and you can see him jumping over the curb as if he's a frog, but that's really just going to hurt the flooring in the long run.
Vita's already made it round before, and we've only 5 drivers to put the first laps on the board, but not far behind him is Jutsi, on board with the Red Bull driver. He's going to take that turn 14 pretty well. The slight kick to the right as well. He will set a 127.2. Absolutely demolishes the rest of the pack by 6 tenths of a second. And what about Steps? Steps crosses the line. He jumps up to P6, a second off the pace.
And now it's great time to tune in with the Alpine of Maha, as he's going into the final sector, as there's a Sauber off the road, getting a lovely toe off Konami. Great cooperation by the Alpines. It's about time now he just slots away, but no, he's lapping at a decent pace to let Maha follow him all the way round up to the line, using the toe to its full effect. And it's only 29.1. Did his teammate hold him up is the question. Possibly.
I think it seems like Maha just maybe had a bit of a slow first start. Maybe that toe may have pulled it back a bit better, but obviously we don't know that, as Ibrahim dashing down the back straight is going to hit into turn 14 on board with the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, out the final corner, a little wiggle of the rear end just to really straighten himself up for this straight optimal line, and it's only a 27.7. It's second fastest, but still a fair way off Jutsi, who's on pole for now.
Yeah, 4.5 tenths behind the Red Bull. Jutsi's obviously did give everything into that lap. Speaking of Jutsi's going into the pits now. So we have the top 11 all have set laps, and it's shaping up to be interesting. Obviously, Pelly Infinity, we need to see how they do. But what it seems like they may go when the track clears up a bit more, which I don't blame them for, because everybody's always keen to get out first to set the first laps. But the Alpines still... Kanai setting another time. He's 4 tenths up on his lap. He crosses the line. He's only a 10.5 off. What about his teammate? He's going into the pits, actually.
It's going to be mighty close when it comes to the end of the session, because the track's only getting quicker. So therefore, the laps are only going to get quicker as well. By logic, even though it's quite wide in terms of the gap between fastest and slowest of about 1.9. For all we know, Maha gets pole.
Can you see a 126 being set?
Yeah, very much so. I think pole lap will be about a 26.8. It's about 3 tenths off what we saw yesterday, but it's still capable. Especially with, as I just said, the track rubbering up a bit more, getting a lot more grip. The cars will just go quicker as there's more grip on the tyres.
Obviously, more. Obviously, I think most of these drivers have put on now fresher tyres. If we quickly take a look at the softs, obviously Kaname has the oldest, but that's due to staying out for the longest. But most of the drivers on the outlaps all on new softs.
Yeah, I think Jutsy's threatened because he's seen Kaname's lap and he's came out again. He's currently entering sector 2 on his outlap, so he's going to possibly try and increase his dent in that pole margin instead of letting Kaname mend it a bit.
Yeah, obviously most of these drivers without a teammate, obviously they should be coming because 15 drivers expected to be here. We have only 13. So
yeah.
Steps and Jutsi just chilling on the DRS straight, doing just weaving about.
Peligro Jr. is on a lap. He's in turn 4 now, as there's yellows for the Aston who was letting him by. It's a 28.5 at the end of sector 1, and big opportunity for him to possibly catch his teammate for a little toe towards the end of his lap. But who knows? He could just be slow enough to stay away from getting a toe.
That's obviously also if Ibrahim is kind enough to slow down, because obviously he is on an outlap and
you can see that the lead Merc is dropping a bit, really trying to let Peligro catch up and pull himself along a bit with that toe.
Or actually just going to let him straight by.
Yeah. And it's a purple sector for a moment, and then it flashed away immediately. So I don't know what that was, because the Mercedes behind him is on an outlap. So yeah, that may have been a mistake.
It's not always actually purple. But Peligro, he's going to cross the line, so 127.6, that puts him into P4, just in front of his teammate by 200ths of a second.
And now his teammate's on a flyer. You can see just how quickly he pulled away from Peligro at the start of the lap. But Jutsi coming up through the middle sector now. What's his delta to his previous lap? It's 3 tenths improvement. We could actually be seeing the 126 before the final 5 minutes.
Also, Kimi has snuck himself into P2, 1,000th ahead of Kaname. So no wonder. So at such a point, most of the drivers out on track is a bit of a shock to see.
And it's a 26.9
You called it.
Jutsi.
You did call it.
Yeah, now we just need another 10th and then we're right where I wanted it to be. But who knows, we've got some really talented drivers here, such as Jutsi, such as Kaname. Kaname in fact winning this tier last season, so he knows what kind of pace to be setting here if he wants to keep fighting. And currently he looks to be setting that pace. Yes, he's about 5 tenths off, but there's still another 5 minutes left to change that.
Yeah, and Kaname's obviously now 45,000 up in his sector 1, so he's already predicted as Ibrahim jumps up to P2 actually. There is a V-carb of Infinity behind him. He's the only driver to yet to set a lap time.
Yeah, so what you just said about half a tenth up in sector 1, it's a really difficult sector to gain time because it's only 4 corners, 2 of them being hairpins and then 2 of them being like medium to high speed. So it's all about how you get off the throttle. So this is really going to be where you gain most. And Koname's 3.5 tenths up, which gives him purple. So could he be up there with Jutsi if he can just completely like floor it to the line now? Through the final corner goes the Alpine. What will it be though? It's looking promising. Will it be promising?
It is promising. So
And it's new
126.955.
fastest lap. It's a new pole lap there for Konami. Really showing his wits in this too. Ibrahim 9 tenths off, he's on an in lap. Maha, he's finding some time, I think. Nope. That was showing me delta from his previous lap where he went 7 tenths up. Instead he's 13.8 down this lap. So very competitive for him.
Infinity now, the only driver to yet to set a lap. He's used up all his deploy though. For this last main straight, this could cost him. It looks like a 127, maybe a 128. It's a 128.2 that puts him into P10, just behind Hefstaff, and just in front of Supernova.
Yeah, it's mighty close. Like, we are already seeing the 2 possible trains in the main race already forming here. It's going to be like back 4 and then probably the top 8 or so. But then Darren Edits
doing at the moment.
Yeah, Darren Edits DNFing in the earlier stages.
DNF'd in the pits around minute 10.
Yeah. As the 2 Alpines are probably feeding off each other, doing some practice races. And now in comes Kaname and goes Marmesh again.
Maybe this time will be the lap for him.
Yeah, a bit of jumping around.
Bit of faults in there, and ooh,
he's backed out. You can tell based off how he exited turn 3, he took a bit too much curve, had a little wobble, but then he just slammed on the brakes and went, this ain't gonna be my lap. As Yeet Mima and Supernova both on their out laps. Will they possibly improve? Any predictions for who'll get pole with these final 2.5 minutes? All the drivers about to come out.
Personally, I think it's probably going to be down between the top 3. Maybe Kimi Rai can have a say in it. But overall, I will say that probably Jutsi or Kaname does get pole. Maybe Ibrahim can sneak in.
Yeah, completely agree.
It looks like Jutsi is going out.
Yeah, they're all on their way out. As Yeetmeme has started his lap, he's gonna get some unwanted traffic.
I mean,
but
he does only have
traffic?
So he only has 2 drivers, which is Ibrahim and Steps. And
yeah.
as you can see, they're already slowing down, so...
Yeah, if Yeetmeme really wanted to, he could have tried and get a bit of the toe off Ibrahim and slingshot himself into the turn 4 hairpin. Would have found him a 10th or 2. But he's currently purple sector 1, it says, and on his way down the hill.
Obviously, it's most likely not true. However, maybe we'll see. 8.5 tenths to beat Kaname. Is it going to be enough? At the moment, he does seem to get into provisional P6, but he does get invalidated. So he'll still have 1 more lap to go. Does he use
they're all
it?
on like their last lap now. Infinity has decided not to go out again. He could go out now, but it will literally just be an out lap. So maybe not as worth it.
Supernova rounding, nearly spinning there, and I think that's his lap as he's gone into the gravel. Bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, just gonna have to let them all past and then see if he can go again. But
As
regardless of that,
goes back into the pits.
Real big question now. The steps, he's on a lap. Is he gonna step up a place or 2? Who knows? But anyways, DRS wide open into turn 4. You can see the Alpine and Mercedes just going through turn 1 and 2. As I said that. And now down into turn 5, 6, 7, 8. That swifty section, as he's a tenth and a half up. Still continuing his pace, quite decent like this lap in general. It's all piecing together slowly but surely. Purple sector 1, which most likely is true now. It's his second or third lap in this session, as the flag has been raised. It's going to be last chance for all of them. Any mess ups and it's their session over easily.
Supernova's got another invalidation.
The steps 3.5 tenths up, as there's yellow flags for, I think it's Maha.
Yeah, it is Maha. As through the final corner, steps to put the first final lap on the board. It's looking impressive, like a 126. It's a 127.5 that jumps up to 5th place. The Alpine of Kanani. Can he improve on his lap time? He does. Ibrahim just ever so slightly behind.
Ah, that is unfortunate for him, but look at Jersey. He's finding 1.8 tenths of a second. It's surely going to be pole for the Red Bull. And
yes,
it will
is.
be pole. It's a
By
26.8. It's mighty close in the top 3, all split by about 43 thousandths.
P4 actually. So he had a promising sector 2, but he's obviously lost some time in sector 3.
And it's only 43 thousandths between the top 3. What a race this sets up for. Aye. That's the best way to put it. But yeah, we are in for a treat here today. We had an amazing season opener in the Champions Division, and it looks like we will have a season opener which could even possibly top it here tonight in Bahrain.
We'll see.
But yeah, there's your grid. Now showing up Jutsi on pole, Kaname second, perilously close between him and also Ibrahim, who slots his Mercedes in third. Then it's Kimi Rai fourth, Peligro fifth. The Steps F1 did step up 2 places in 6th, Vita Varte in 7th, Yeet Meeman 8th, Hefastaf 9th, Infinity 10th, Supernova, Maham, and then Darren Edits will round off the grid here today. I like to ask this question, but who do you personally think will end up winning here, as we have 3 minutes before the race begins?
This may sound like a crazy shout, but I'm going Ibrahim.
Do you want me to go even crazier? No, I'll probably stay safe and say Kaname. He's the veteran of the tier, so is Jutsi, to be fair. There are 2 titans in this tier in general. Kaname being reigning champion. Yesterday we saw the reigning champion win the season opener for their tier. We could see it again today. Who knows, but it's all to play for. And it's quite clear that it is.
So we're waiting for the players to complete their strategies and setups.
Yeah, we still have about a minute left until they ready up.
Don't ready up until signal is given. Readying up at 27. So in a minute's time.
And now we have been given the
Ready up.
get-go, I believe.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
just been given.
Now it's time to see who's on what compound. I have a feeling at least one in the top 3 will be starting on the medium compound of tyres, just because they'd want to get track position early on, and then just manage it
Are we
on the
going to see a
hards.
2-stop, do you think?
Based off what I saw yesterday, I don't think so. It's more than possible from taking softs to hards and go to the end with it.
It's
And
5 red
it's
lights,
5.
and it's lights out, and away we go. It's a good start for Jitsi, however, he gets far ahead of Konami, and it's an obvious difference in getaway as we are on board with Ibrahim as he dashes around the outside, and it's a great manoeuvre to get ahead into P2 as Konami's dropped down 2 places off the start as Kimi Rai jumps up into podium places.
Yeah, the bollard running wild into turn 3, doing a Nakita Mazepin in 2021 with that bollard as Jitsi went over it. But as I said just before the race, I think at least one will be on the mediums. In fact, only 2 are starting on hards and 2 are starting on softs. The remaining 7 or 8 all on the medium compound of tyres. So it's quite obvious that's the favoured strategy here, and therefore Konami and Pelligro's job is to try and stay as high up the pecking order as they can in these early stages.
Now, Infinity's had the worst start out of everyone, even compared to Konami. He has dropped from P10 to P13. Obviously, a mistake must have happened, or just a bad getaway. The best starts has just gone between 5 people, and that's Ibrahim, Kimi, Supernova, Maher, and Darren.
Yeah, they've all picked up a place or two, haven't they?
They've all picked up 1 place. At the moment, Ibrahim looks like he's ready to charge down on the Red Bull, as going down now the main straights. DRS not open yet. Now it's open as he's charging down the straight. He's got a great amount of tow. Will he send it into turn 1? He is definitely in touching distance, but he keeps behind. He will have the
just
DRS.
For DRS. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for the DRS to complete the move into turn 4. But Jitsi gets a better exit, so maybe the DRS strategy was not worth it, as he's now further behind the Red Bull and nowhere near in touching distance.
Yeah, I honestly think he should have seized his opportunity into turn 4, maybe even turn 1 if he was feeling cocky. But now he's going to have to suffer in the dirty air of the Red Bull in these early stages, whereas what you want is to put your rivals in that dirty air instead and make their tyres overheat, as Darren Edits has gone round in turn 8. That's causing the yellow flags over there. As now they continue. Another DRS zone wasted behind the Red Bull for Ibrahim. He's really going to have to try and do it in turn 1 with the DRS assistance on lap 3. Of course, that's when you are within a second of car ahead, which almost everyone is apart from Konami on the hard compound of tyres, who's just dropped off from Kimi Rai, who's hanging on for dear life behind Ibrahim.
Now, Ibrahim is still definitely now in touching distance of getting past the Red Bull. He's going to pull to the right. Is it going to be enough as he zooms past him with ease? And
as
can it also be enough for Kimi to slowly catch up, as well as they both, as the 3 dash into turn 1?
The steps F1 down the inside of Pelligro, kisses Konami round the rear just to push him through turn 1, and Konami hanging on to P4.
As Vita has the inside line on Pelligro, as he tries to send it down the inside into turn 4. It's a great move. Can Yeet follow through as well? As Pelly kind of hits him a little bit, causing contact, and is going to keep Pelly ahead.
Yeet Mima poked his nose where it doesn't belong, and as a result going off and Hefastaf adopting P8 from the Sauber. It's crucial as well regarding how they have 2 Sauber drivers, whereas the likes of Ferrari only have 1. So every time Yeet Mima or Kimi Rai makes one of them like pathetic mistakes, which is like he pokes someone in the rear and has a little bit of a snap, he's going to lose places and lose points for the team in a very early stage of the championship, where every point is crucial, especially when you have the upper hand on others.
and also constructors wise, I think it does probably seem like Mercedes would take the lead in there, as Darren has spun in turn 11, turn 12, as now going down towards the straight. Kimi Rai, Jutsi just absolutely breezes past the Mercedes, and Kimi Rai has also now closed the gap pretty well.
As the steps makes it 2 places in 2 laps, so does Vitavi, who also overtakes Kaname as he loses 2 places into turn 3, but he will fight back. Darren Edits retires from the race, only lap 4, still a long way to go, but he's just gave up already.
Yep, 26 laps left. I don't think after that spin he must have also gotten some damage maybe to his car.
Yeah, or what's quite common is just losing it. Yeah, that's a surprise. He's gone a bit too aggressive. I don't think it was contact driven, and that's just pure drive error from the championship. Well, reigning champion, let's say.
I mean, he's not far from the pack. I think he definitely has enough to catch up, enough skill and pace. Obviously,
yeah, but it's the hard tyres. They're more durable, taking out ever so valuable tyre life on the most durable compound means he's gonna fuck up his strategy and probably will have to pit a lap earlier in this race.
Yeah, and obviously now Ibrahim probably ready to get past Jutsi, maybe even Kimi as well. Is he close enough to make the move as well? But Ibrahim gets past the Red Bull with ease, but on board with Kimi. Will he look down the inside? No, he doesn't. Backs out.
Otherwise. Yeah, thought otherwise. Clever call by Kimi.
As big mistake from Jutsi, and a bit of a snap.
Kimi's gonna go for it. No, he won't. I thought he would have based off Jutsi's mistake during turn 2, which then led on to turn 3 and compromised his whole run to that straight. But that's letting Ibrahim run away down this hill into turn 8. He's so crucial.
Big lockups as well from Jutsi, obviously the ABS system.
Yeah, kicking in.
As it is this game, only Jutsi that keeps on locking up.
Yeah, could be a sign saying he's the only one using no ABS. Or it's just a sign he's braking hard as hell.
I mean, if we pull up the telemetry as he goes down into turn 13, yeah, he does go full brakes there. If we compare them, Ibrahim, Jutsi and Kimi. So going into this corner now, no, Ibrahim does have ABS on, but Kimi just didn't seem like he broke that much.
Yeah, he's being a lot more conservative with his tyres, probably going to push it a lap or 2 longer than the 2 ahead of him, as he's pulled to the inside.
He's going to get past, it's 3 wide, and Kimi has just found a strategy, but a mistake has put him back to where he was.
Yeah, very, very, very late dive. Well, it wasn't too late, it was just he overcooked it. When it came to brakes and Verstappen and the steps is in the wall, they've made contact in turn 3 and they've both gone off. Damage for what looks to be both cars.
Surprisingly,
from the shot I've just got.
Surprisingly, no virtual safety car even.
Yeah, the steps has some of his end plate missing, whereas her Fastaff, he's basically missing a quarter of his wing. So they are both probably going to resort to the pit lane at the end of this lap.
Do you think there will also be reports towards both of these two?
I think there will be some investigation post-race for that, because by the looks of it, it was 2 lines clashing as they were dueling. Could it have been Fastaff cutting off steps in a fairly dangerous position when being wheel to wheel? Who knows, but there will probably be some investigation. Us both not getting the best POV though.
As going down into the final straight, is Kimi close enough this time to pull off the move that he did a lap before? As he is 3 tenths, 4 tenths between everyone, and look at the pace of the kick Sauber. He's got past one. Can he get past the second? No, he can't. But
He's probably going to
Jutsi
wait for
has
turn 4.
dropped from first to third. Not the best of things, as Ibrahim gets a beautiful exit and gets far ahead of the Kimi, which will definitely be enough to be ahead of him going to turn 4.
Yeah, do you think this could have been a blessing in disguise for Yeats Mima? Because if Verstappen steps dropping, how I said a few laps ago, every mistake he makes, it's another place gone. He's found 2 places out of it. So now, he's net to nil to where he was about 3 laps ago.
Obviously, also, at the start of the race, it seemed like the start was quite boring, not many overtakes. Well, look at the position changes now. It is really shooken up the order at the moment, except for Infinity. He's just decided to stay in P10 because he wants to. And,
yeah.
I mean, it is that one beneficial point for V-Cub. Now, Heatherstaff did pit. He went for the hard compound tyre.
Probably going to try and go to the end of it, as Kaname has a look round the outside for turn 13 instead of thinks otherwise, and will just follow Supernova for another straight.
Kimi is definitely now close enough now Kimi's definitely close enough to overtake Ibrahim. Now is Jutz going to try and slingshot his way back? No, he can't, but Kimi takes the lead of the race.
Kaname being dragged along by Maha, and that should see him pull ahead of Supernova into turn 1, which it will, and therefore that's another place for the Alpine.
Very good for him. Now, back to the fight in the top 3. They're just running away from the rest of the pack. Ibrahim is getting right to the rear end of Kimi. I think we'll see an overtake in these next few corners and straights, as these 3 are just locked together, it seems, with this DRS train. You can see Peligro in the background.
Yeah, Peligro, especially over the past few laps, as the hards are becoming slightly better in terms of lap time compared to the mediums, he's slightly chirping into this conversation up front. Well, it's not really a conversation, it's more like an argument over who wants to be first. And Peligro
has had a bit of a snap, which could cost him a little bit. Kimi's still in the lead. He's led for a lap.
Yeah, he's probably telling his engineers to leave me alone, I know what I'm doing, because he is leading from 4th on the grid as well, but it's early doors still not even at the 1/3 mark.
Yeah, as now down the straight, this is definitely enough for Ibrahim to get past. Yes, it is.
Yeah, Peligro now within 2 seconds of the leaders, as Vita Varte gets a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. That's a big loss for the Haas.
The only Haas on grid today. We only have 2 kicks, 2 Alpines and 2 Mercedes, so those are the only 2 teams with 2 drivers there today.
Yeah. We did also have 1 Williams, but that's become none, as they dropped out in the early doors if you're only just tuning in.
Early doors due to a very costly spin, which hit Darren into the wall, and it did send him quite far back. Obviously, Heatherstaff did DNF in the pits, which is a bit shocking.
It's probably the knowledge that most of these drivers have of points goes all the way down to 15th place in this league. 30 points for first, 1 for 15th. So he's probably going for the points, even if he's nowhere near the rest of the field. He's just going to run for points in this race.
I think every point matters in this race, but Ibrahim's obviously started to break away. I think Ibrahim's the only driver that can actually get a proper breakaway, but that DRS train just keeps them locked together.
Yeah. One thing referencing how I said 1 point for 15th, that makes me wonder why Darren Edits DNF'd, because even if he came 13th and 5 laps down, he would have still got some valuable points for the Williams team. So, is that wasted potential?
Maybe he didn't know.
Kimi Raya leads. Yeet Mima, massive gains now. He's up to 4th.
Usually
Probably
Jutsi
due
went
to
into the
Jutsi
pits.
pitting, yeah. He's triggered a very early undercut. But could early be the key to success here? Who knows?
I mean,
As there's Tokyo Drift
I'm pretty
through
sure
turn 8.
Ibrahim. I'm pretty sure Ibrahim's already in his pit window.
Yeah. I didn't
Same
know.
with Yeet Mima.
Yeah. I didn't know this was the drifting championships. I thought this was Formula 1 Slipstream Racing League esports. But yeah, Kimi Rai having a little drift early on in this lap. As Ibrahim, the first overtake into turn 11 of the day.
Finally, an overtake other than turns. The first couple.
1 and 2, yeah. And then final corner where Kaname pulled it off on Supernova on about lap 7. So look at how close Kimi Rai gets to the back of Ibrahim under braking.
And yeah, Ibrahim's going to
they
the pits,
both
and
come
so's
in.
Kimi Rai. Kimi Rai's pit window should have just started, and Peligro stays out.
We
Peligro
now have
obviously.
a 4th leader.
Now let's look at Jutsi as he rounds the final corner. Will he get ahead? Kimi Rai's already leaving the pits.
Yeah, it's a long pit straight for those. Is it going to
Definitely
be
ahead.
Vita Varte, Kiddie, fastest lap of all? But Jutsi will be leader in
When
terms
the
of,
rest ahead of
yeah.
We take a look at the race director. So far, the quickest pit stop was a 2.199 from Yeet Mima. So, I mean, it was a double pit stop, so that must have kept the Kick Sauber pit crew prepared.
Yeah, I think it was perfect execution for Sauber because they knew they had the gaps between one another. But then Vita Varte Kiddie being on the softs, look at the gap he's got over Yeet Mima. As
the early pit stop could have worked if it weren't for the 10-second penalty.
Yeah, he could seriously be contending for the win here if, as you just said, he didn't get the 10 seconds.
I mean,
Jutsi in a really good place as well, being on mediums, which is an interesting choice because he started on them as well, didn't he? So he's asking for 2-stop.
I think so as well. I think some drivers are on a 2-stop.
Yeah, you can tell with Vita Varte, Kiddie, and then Jutsi both on like the softer compounds of softs or mediums. In these,
the back 5 are on hards as well.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to strategy. Jutsi will want to try and put out a whole pit stop to Ibrahim and Kimi Rai. Oh, I live near a police station, don't worry, it's regular.
As Vita Varte gets past Kimi quite easily.
Yeah.
Which definitely could cost him in fighting for the lead.
As Maha's gone round in turn 3, yellow flags down that stretch as he rejoins. Looks like no damage for the Alpine, only looks like a tiny spin into the gravel trap. But now looking at it, there is a slight bit of his end plate off the car, so that's going to be some aerodynamic
not even a
loss.
PFC yet.
Yeah, for the 63% chance we were given pre-race in the brief, that it doesn't look it. Because now look at how separated everyone is. Kimi Rai and Vita Varte Kiddie, and then Hefastaf and the Steps F1 close to each other, but that's about it, with Jutsi coming up towards the back of Supernova as well in due course as he dives into the pits instead. So we will not get to see a fight over third.
But I think we know who's going to be the leader when Peli and Konami will go into the pits.
Yeah, but then now we filtered in another pit stop for the likes of Jutsi. It's Ibrahim who's your provisional leader in this race. Strategies just point his way. But Jutsi will be on the softs from about lap 18 so he could go flying to the end and be a massive threat for the front runners.
Maybe. We'll see.
As this is really where a race starts down, don't it? When everyone's all separate on different strats. As Maha has retired, he's clearly not in this stream.
I don't want to be rude, but this is why I don't really commentate F1 racing much, because when you get to the midpoint, it just gets separated and more.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've commentated many events, and this is really the stage where it pipes down. But then, most of the time, you tend to see a close fight between 5 or so cars for most of the race, especially in this league. For example, yesterday, it was 5 cars dueling from the get-go till the final lap. And then there's sometimes where it's literally just a one-horse race, as everyone's split up. But at least we can commentate Kimi Rai, who has DRS, pulling to the inside on Vita Varte, and swiftly moving himself back into the top 5 of this race. Question is though, will the Haas on the softs counter attack and go for it into turn 4? No, he won't, as the steps moves up on Hefastaf.
I mean, that if they were a bit further up, I think that would be the fight between, like, maybe Yeet Mima, the steps, Hefastaf.
Yeah, let's be honest, if the steps and Hefastaf didn't have their collision on about lap 9, they would still be with, like, Yeet Mima or Infinity. But as a result, they are in their own dream world, we shall call it. As again, the Haas gaining, has a little look, but chooses not to.
He saw some opportunity, but obviously very too much risky to take.
Yeah. I think what we should do is probably ping them all in general and go, like, we'll pay you 50 quid if you try and send a move into turn 5. Like, that will spice it up.
Question is, did we have 5 quid?
No.
But yeah, the Haas just once again overtaking. So it's going to be just overtake after overtake every lap on it, almost every DRS. Well, not every DRS straight, but the main straight DRS. Oh, guess I'm on it now. He'll be back in a sec. But at the moment, Kimi Rai charging down Vita Varte, going down into turn 8. It's a very good opportunity for the Kicksauber to maybe close up on the Haas and obviously get a good overtake in. However, going down the hill into turns 9 and 10, it's looking not like it, and Vita Varte gets a way better exit compared to Kimi, as Kimi obviously clipped the curb on the inside apex, and he's done it again going into turn 11, which just allows Vita Varte to get a more improved exit, as both these two have not similar but also not very different lines.
Yeah, now look at the traction Kimi's got on the exit there, the number 7, referencing Kimi Raikkonen, and of course his name heavily linking to it, but not pulling a move Kimi would pull, as he stays behind. As in comes Vita Varte, only after 6 laps on the softs. Again, reference to Champions Division, we saw about 9 laps on the softs. Some even went half distance on them before changing strategies to the mediums. So there was a lot more life in him, but he clearly just couldn't cope. As now it's Hefastaf. It's minor positions, only 9th and 10th of the 11 runners. Hefastaf doesn't, he has a look actually, but just sits back, as this is now the main battle to watch between the two, as he picks up another dose of DRS. Will this dose be a fatal dose for the steps? Yes it will, as Hefastaf moves up into P9.
is looking very interesting as down the straight, obviously, everybody separated by basically a mile. And then you just have Heatherstaff and the Steps, the only two drivers somewhat close together. Maybe they can pull in Supernova, but we'll see.
Yeah, as now they go into turn 10, a range of lines, some looking wider at the apex, some looking narrower at the apex, but it's all just for the exit's sake. If you're trying to overtake, you'd want a wider line at the apex to try and get more road to increase your top speed when it comes to the next corners. Jutsy's coming in with only 7 laps on the mediums, and now it's his push time. He's on the hards, however, 6 laps younger than Ibrahim and Kimi Rise, whereas Kaname and Peligro on hard still.
My opinion, that's a very weird manoeuvre.
Yeah,
it's the strategy, but
yeah. If I was
gone...
Jutsi, I would have gone to about lap 20 and then pitted for softs. But you can now see Jutsi's in a position.
21, 22.
Yeah, like you can now see from Jutsi, Hefastaf and the Steps just in the background as he enters turn 4. That's how much time he's lost. It's about a third of a lap lost in that pit stop.
I mean, Peli and Kaname still yet to...
Yeah, he could be undercutting for them. But Jutsi having a little drift again on the exit of turn 8. It's becoming common for the Red Bull. Just really trying to keep it out of the wall now.
Yeah, and obviously coming to the well-known esports line, Peligro down the straight. You can obviously see Kaname in the background, and Ibrahim just turning on the final corner. He does go a bit wide, but surprisingly, no track limits penalties just yet.
Yeah, very much keeping it clean for the drivers. As Jutsi getting closer and closer to infinity, he's taking much wider lines. As I said recently, it's for sake of getting better traction on the exit, as he's got that traction and he's already basically ahead before he even turned on DRS, but DRS just finishes it off for him as he's now up into P6. May his hunt continue. 15 seconds and 13 or so laps left of this race.
Obviously, if we look at the gaps to the leader, the Jutsi has 32 seconds to gain in 12 laps if he wants to overtake Peligro. Now, obviously, he's already broken away from Infinity's DRS, and he's probably one of the only drivers to actually be gaining on the leader.
Yeah, but the leaders in a stage where their tyres are older than my grandparents, they want to get them over and done with sooner rather than later, just for their own sake. They don't want the tyres dying on them. So yeah, we will be seeing a pit stop for one of the top 2.
Question is for who?
And when. But
and
yeah, they seem to just be powering on still.
I mean, if I had to guess, they probably have 60 or 70%.
Yeah.
You can somewhat see some sort of tyre degradation on the wheels.
Yeah, now we just need to wait and see when they finally pull the trigger. But it looks like Ibrahim, even though Jutsi's just smashed the previous fastest lap of the race with one of his own, there's 4 seconds between the Mercedes in 3rd and the Sauber in 4th. So Jutsi could only be in for contention for maybe even 2nd. Therefore meaning Ibrahim could be winning here, just due to the gaps.
Yeah, and coming down towards the last couple of into the turns 11, 12, Kaname is slowly catching up to Peligro. Now, will Kaname or Peligro pit going into lap 20? It's obvious they're doing a one-stop.
They're obviously also going to be going over to the softs to literally power themselves to the line.
Obviously,
but the more laps they do it,
If Peligro pits now, I think he will just ever so slightly stay ahead of Jutsi. And he does go into the pits. Konami does the
They're
same.
both.
No, he doesn't.
No, Konami stays out for one more.
Uh,
He thinks he's got a bit more pace on the hards. He knows what he's doing. We both don't. But yeah.
But it seems to me that Peligro will still stay ahead of
Jutsi.
Jutsi. So maybe this
Looks-
pit stop was actually beneficial, as he still also
And
has
he's going to
Yeet
be
Beamer
ahead
at
of
the
Yeet
window.
Beamer. Yeah. Looks like Peligro. And maybe even Konami could be favourites for this win. Most likely Peligro. But then it's an amazing opportunity for Mercedes to take a 1-2 in the season opener, bagging a massive 55 points. And if Peligro even gets fastest lap with it, make it 56. Like they're having a whole house party.
12 seconds between what is going to be probably the provisional leader and Peligro, well, now 11 seconds actually, sorry. Konami should be soon going into the pits, and it seems like people are slowly starting to bunch up again.
Yeah, it's probably due to the diversity of strategies. Supernova defending the steps, who's defending a very aggressive and attacking her fast staff. Which,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've only just noticed it means he fast as fuck. But I've been calling him a fast staff. I'm sorry, but you're saying it's a
Konami
fast
is
staff.
still not going to the pits. He will not go. And Ibrahim is already now within 5 seconds of the leader.
Does he
The
think there's
question
rain
is-
or something coming? Like, have we
It's
not been told
Bahrain.
about it? We saw it in real life pre-season testing. Surely we'll see it in a fucking F1 game.
Pre-season testing in February.
Yeah,
This
but
game
still,
does not have a set
it's March. It's March, and it's in Bahrain. It's only about 1 week after pre-season testing. For all we know, it's a tropical storm approaching. But, yeah.
Hurricane Category 5.
Yeah, for all we know, we're gonna have to get some snow tyres out, as Konami really wrestling the car out of turn 8. He's on a knife edge with them hards. Is he hoping for a safety car? If so, that would actually put him into P4.
That does make sense. However, it seems that no one else is going to be smashing into walls.
The only driver I could think of isn't racing anymore, and that's Darren. As there's a little wobble by the steps down the hill, defending her fast staff.
The only way I think I could see a safety car if a pile-up happens. So, like, if Steps, Hefferstaff, and Supernova all slammed into each other. But,
Yeah, if they all end up retiring, it will definitely be a safety car, but
let's see.
they
Does
probably
Konami
won't
go in this time? Yes, he does.
yeah, he's gave up, he's gone, I'm not getting what I want, you can have it now.
Ibrahim now
That
in
is-
the lead. 5.5 seconds he was behind Konami. Now he is ahead by what will be about 20 seconds.
Of Konami, I'm guessing, as Peligro, new fastest lap of the race. And he's
Now, Peligro is actually
rapidly
slowly
approaching.
catching up to Kimi Rai, and obviously Jutsi seems a bit too far away.
Jutsi's beat Konami though. It looks like
but-
Jutsi's 4th, probably 5th once Konami's got rid of them both. But
He's,
I'll be
fifth-
honest with you,
Jutsi 16
Pel-
seconds off Ibrahim.
if Peligro can catch his teammate by a second a lap, he could be in for a shot at winning on the final lap. That's the status he's in. He's going to be all out pushing. But even if he doesn't get Ibrahim, he's guided the team to a 1-2 in the season opener here in Bahrain, which is a massive statement to all their rivals, especially Konami, who is the reigning world champion. He knows he has to up his game if he's letting his rivals claim a 1-2 in the opening event.
It was a 3-5 in qualifying for these two. And it
they've
seemed like to be a
executed.
1-2 in the race.
Yeah, executed this race to absolute perfection for Mercedes, and you can see now Peligro 3/10 off Kimi Rai as we're about to enter, I want to say 7 laps to the line. of course, lap 29 being a lap of its own. So yeah, 7 laps to the line, and it's 7 seconds between Pelligro and his teammate. He's still at the pace for the win, but it's a question, will the tyres stay with him until then, as Konami moves up into P4?
I mean, tyre age wise, Ibrahim's on 12. Pelligro's on 3 lap old softs. Till
Yeah,
it gets to the point at the end of the race, I think it would still be quite equal tyres.
So I think about 19 lap old hards is still quicker than 8 lap old softs.
Yeah.
It's just because there's more grip. Even though it's minimal the amount of extra grip they have, there's more grip. But a big fight's coming on now for only P7. It's Infinity, Heffastaff, The Steps and Supernova, all within about 2.5 seconds of each other.
If I look in the interval, it's actually less than 2.5 seconds.
Pelligro also about to crack within 5 seconds of his teammate. He's pulling out about 1.5 seconds a lap on Ibrahim.
Imagine what's going on right now in the Mercedes call.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, let me win, no, let me win, let me win, no, let me win. To a point where they'll probably both like Hamilton-Rosberg each other's Konami new fastest lap of the race. The Alpine looking like he's on his way for a podium here. As there's just a little snake down the main straight. It's only 4 cars long, but Supernova has a look, and he's gone deep. He's hit Heffastaff in the rear, who's then punted Infinity off the road, and Heffastaff will hold on to P7 due to ghosting from the McLaren.
Yeah.
And that, a bit of foul play by Supernova.
Heffastaff on 17 lap old hards.
Yeah, respect to their 11 and 13 lap old hards. Heffastaff has done almost a whole distance on them hards. So he's doing well for the utilities which he has.
I mean, he hasn't hit since the crash in with the Steps early on in the race.
I'm not going to be surprised if he gets a puncture though when the race finishes.
If you look at his tyres right now, you can see somewhat of tyre degradation.
Yeah.
Degradation.
But yeah, also like we saw the same thing with Konami. He was really struggling on lap 21. That's gonna be him come final lap 21 of the stint, really struggling for tyres. And also, with them all being in like a little snake of their own, they'll be swapping positions, they'll all be pushing to keep up with each other and stay within DRS. And Heffastaff, who's in the middle of the train, well, almost having a move which puts him to the front of it, but as he's in the middle of it, he's getting the dirty air from the steps. And when he's behind Supernova as well, that's a double dose of dirty air. That's going to heat his tyres up even further. That's going to stimulate tyre degradation. Therefore, he could be facing a puncture, or even puncture territory, going through the final lap.
Yeah, and obviously around into turn 13, Ibrahim needs to slowly start to look behind him, because if you look behind him right now, you could just ever so slightly see a silver arrow emerging from turn 13.
Yeah, and then Konami now facing the Sauber over P3. It's really gone wrong for that Sauber's ambitions. He was second only about 4 laps ago, and now Konami pulls ahead and makes it P3.
Now, Pelligro needs to gain a second a lap if he wants to overtake Ibrahim. Konami needs to gain 2 seconds a lap if he wants to overtake Ibrahim. So obviously, it's going to be down to either Pelligro Pelligro's speed to Ibrahim's speed. So,
And if Pelligro catches come the final lap, them dueling, if they duel heavy enough,
I do
Konami
see
could do it.
Pelligro making a mistake though.
Yeah, a little wobble coming out of turn 7 and down into turn 8, slightly having to readjust his braking point. I don't see it, but based off how he's just drifted through turn 10, I now somewhat see it as well, because he is really dancing with them tyres.
And obviously trying to avoid the curb.
Yeah, that's quite a big factor. So Fastaff, it's a lap on from when I was having my rant about dirty air, and he's still in the dirty air. He's having to slightly move off racing line, compromise his own pace in order to get out of it, as at the moment he's at a state where he can't do anything.
And Pelligro definitely is gaining a second a lap.
Yeah, it's just shy of a second a lap, but it should be enough to see him in DRS range, possibly come the final lap. But
look how much closer the top four slowly getting together.
Koname's catching Pelligro a second a lap, and Pelligro's catching Ibrahim a second a lap. So let's be honest, it will all neutralise for the final lap. It could be a three-way fight on the final lap. Like,
I think
9 lap old soft, 7 lap old soft.
If Ibrahim and Pelligro fight enough for P1, I think it could reel Konami in.
I think Ibrahim's now got the tyre delta on him, because so far this lap, whereas for the past few laps it's been a second delta in Pelligro's favour. Yeah, it's really dying down for Pelligro. He's only found about 3 tenths this lap. Koname's doing 6-7 tenths on Pelligro a lap now. So it could literally be Ibrahim will just escape by the skin of his teeth. Or Pelligro's being told to hold position and defend Konami, because they may see the Alpine as even more threat than his own teammate.
Obviously, and now we're going to start the second to last lap. I think Ibrahim has won this race.
Yeah,
I still see Pelligro making a mistake.
Also, Pelligro, if he wants to win, he has to do 1.3 seconds a lap. Konami, he's currently doing 8 tenths on Pelligro a lap, so he's still not even quick enough to get
overtake
there. Yeah. So it looks like this race is just neutralised, and it's now going to be a question of whether Hefastaf gets a puncture or not, as he's about to start his 21st lap on the hard compound of tyres. And it's really close to a puncture. He's also stayed within DRS range. Supernova makes it 3 wide into turn 1. Supernova will be the leader of the train now. It's literally flipped on its head, and Hefastaf, wanting to get out of the dirty air, he's put back into it, but this time behind a different car. So it's just not going his way.
We're about to go into the final lap, and Ibrahim's 2.5 seconds ahead.
And Konami 1.6 behind Pelligro. So he's also starting to neutralise his pace to the Mercedes ahead.
Yeah, I mean, 6 laps old soft leads 8 lap old soft isn't much of a difference.
It's about half a second a lap in Konami's favour now. But then you can also see this battle for 8 really going to the final corner. But
I think it will.
Yeah, if Konami can't get within DRS range by the end of lap straight, which is near enough impossible, he ain't going to get it, because we have only seen one overtake in turn 11. He will have to be using all his might in order to get past there. So I think that's going to be your top 3. Yeah, I thoroughly think that will be your top 3 in that order. It will be a Mercedes 1-2 in my eyes. As onto the final lap for the 3 fighting over 7th. Hefastaf, he's broke the toe from the steps. It's 3 wide again into turn 1. Hefastaf making some contact with the Aston Martin, and he's still behind the Aston Martin, as they are all throwing rocks at each other here, as they're almost 3 wide again. Yeah, Verstappen this time round the outside. He needs to get the place done, otherwise he will get a puncture, and he has got it.
As well, though.
Yeah, very much throwing everything at one another.
And
Supernova. Yeah, Supernova 7th to 9th in that first sector.
Konami has gained, but not enough, because now Ibrahim crawls around the final corner as Ibrahim wins the Sakir Grand Prix, the first race of the Elite Division, and it's Peligro second, Konami third. Konami just needed one more lap.
Yeah, this battle's still going on. The steps literally rammed Verstappen in the back, almost sending them both round into turn 10. And then it was wheel to wheel between Steps and Supernova through 11 and 12, and now they're running up to the final corner. They're all going to be burning batteries at different rates, and it looks like it will be Verstappen in 7th. And they've all played it cool, even though they were literally trying to give each other black eyes and missing teeth instead of tyres. But it will be Verstappen. Yeah, perilously close. But Peligro wasn't close enough to the lead.
Konami is the driver of the day.
Yeah, I think it should go to Ibrahim though. It was a better drive on his behalf. He literally managed the pace from the moment he pitted to the lights. And also it was a Mercedes one too, so that's capping off a really good display from a really good drive in general. So they mightily deserve that one too. They've drove like they want the constructors after 2 races, and we're still only in first.
If we look at the pit stops, your fastest pit stop today was still the 2.199 from Yeet Nima. When he swapped from mediums to hards. But that is the race, that was the Sakir Grand Prix, and we'll see you next time for more.
Adios.
Goodbye.